Hello everyone, it is I, the Golden Scouta, and with me today I have MJ from MJxTV. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a while since we recorded. I think like 5, maybe 6 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, it's been at least like 5 or 6 years, but without further ado, let's just dive into this. Yeah, so let's start off with Ozaru, or the Great Ape. But I love this one. I think it's a great form. Anytime it's appeared, you always know that you're in trouble. There's never been a time, at least that I can remember, where somebody has actually taken on one of these in a direct fight. They've always had to do something like either cutting off the tail, blowing up the moon. There's never really been a time where we've seen this be disrespected or defeated by any kind of conventional fighting memes. Do you have anything to add on to that, or?
No, I agree with you, and I think that's one of the, I guess, fascinations that the fandom has with the idea of like the Saiyans revolting against Frieza, is because that probably would have been like the only realistic time you could have seen a centered character or a centric character fight an actual Uzaru, or like multiple of them, right? Like, it's because every other time, like, it's been like either the power increases just too much for one singular character, or like the Gohan Vegeta as an example, Vegeta was too beaten up at that point. It's like, so yeah, no, I agree with you. The form has never really been disrespected, you know. So I agree with that. I think it deserves a pretty good ranking.
Yeah, me too. Cause I was thinking about it for a bit. I wanted to put it in B, but I actually think it deserves A. What do you think?
I'm down for that, yeah.
Alright, so yeah, with Kaioken, it's not really a Saiyan transformation, but the only person who we've seen use it is a Saiyan. It's kind of similar to Ultra Instinct, but like that theoretically anybody could use it, but it really is Goku's form, and I kind of count it as a Saiyan transformation in that regard. But I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's as iconic as Ozaru, but because to me, it's pretty much like the closest thing that feels like a cheat code in a way. Because there's been times where Goku literally was just like, okay, let's just amp it up a little bit more and see what it can do. Because he did that against Vegeta, tried it against Frieza, and then later in Super, he got to actually stack it onto his blue form. And I kind of like the explanation of like why he didn't use it as a regular Super Saiyan. But what do you think in general?
I think the movies themselves, the original Dragon Ball Z films, warrant Kaioken to at least be B tier, if not the very least, like the very end of the A tier. You know, so we can always move it up to the end of A tier at the end of this, but B tier for sure. B tier for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's actually where I was going to put it too, so we have no disagreements there. So, moving on to Super Saiyan, I don't even think we have to discuss this,
Yeah.
but we will. I mean, it's so iconic. I mean, all you have to do is look up a YouTube video of like Super Saiyan references in pop culture, and you'll see so much references to it. It's such a great form. Everybody looks good wielding it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's awesome. And I like how they build upon it later in the Cell arc with like full power Super Saiyan, just using it completely to where it doesn't drain the stamina. So
Right.
I think it's a very solid form, and even anybody who doesn't watch Dragon Ball knows what a Super Saiyan is.
Yeah, no, I can completely agree with that. I mean, we've seen it referenced so much in pop culture. I definitely think it's S tier. If some people were to like debate and be like, well, no, like Super Saiyan 4 or Ultra Instinct are, you know, the very best, then I think Super Saiyan is like right behind them, if not above them. I would actually argue it is above them, but it just depends on who you talk to. And I think it definitely deserves S tier no matter where in the S tier it is. It has to be an S tier, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think of this as like a ranking to where it's like one is better than the other, but I mean, everybody has their preferences, because I know that some people really love Super Saiyan 3, really love Super Saiyan 2, Blue, God, Ultra Instinct, but this definitely deserves that place in the S tier without even really having to debate it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we have Grade 2 Super Saiyan, or Ascended Super Saiyan, depending on what you want to call it. But I mean, it's cool and everything. Honestly, I think it's I mean, it's just it's basically just Super Saiyan with bigger muscles, and it's not one of those forms that I have ever really wanted to come back. I mean, it did what it needed to at the time. Vegeta beat the hell out of Cell. I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just there. It leads to other cool things like Grade 4 or Mastered Super Saiyan or like Super Saiyan 2, but I think by itself, it's where should we put it though? Like, do you think this is gonna be our first D tier, or you think it deserves C tier?
I think it deserves C. Like, I don't think it's a bad form. I like the idea of Vegeta even bringing up the prospect of going beyond Super Saiyan. So, I mean, I think it deserves C. I don't think it deserves D at all. Do you think C is an appropriate one?
I think so. I think the next one deserves D though, and I can get into my reason for that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, with Grade 3, I could totally see it. It doesn't really have much use in the series. I mean, the only way I could see it being used is, I don't know, if there's like some kind of obstacle that just required a ton of brute force. Because as long as the obstacle doesn't move or whatever,
Yeah.
it would be very useful in that situation. But apart from that, it's pretty much established that it's not useful in combat.
It's one of the few forms, to kind of call back to what you said earlier about your argument with the Uzaru. It's one of the few forms that actually does get disrespected very quickly. Like, it's almost kind of made to show that like Trunks is almost like a complete idiot. I think Cell calls him like a fool multiple times. Like, even Vegeta knew it, etc. And then like the episode also like corresponds with the training in the Room of Spirit and Time, right? Where Goku goes into the form and then immediately he's like, nah, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This really ain't it. Then so yeah, I think if there's any transformation on here that deserves D tier, it's probably, this is one of those.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I was going to put it in C, but after hearing your reasoning, I actually could change my mind and say that it's a kind of a bad form. I mean, it did inspire Broly's legendary Super Saiyan
they
form.
disrespected very early on.
Yeah, very disrespected, but I like how the only plus about it is that it inspired Broly's form. At least that's what I've heard.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but anyways, we'll go to a form that's far better than that. So, Super Saiyan 2. I love this form. I really, really want to put it in S tier, and mainly because I think that this form should have stayed exclusive to Gohan, but I don't think that it was ever misused even after Goku and Vegeta achieved it. But to me, this feels like a very Gohan form. What do you think?
I think you're not the first person to say that. I felt like a lot of people have said that over the years in the fandom. I would want to put it in S2, but if you want to like compromise, we can put it in the A tier, but put it above Uzaru maybe, if you want to do that. Like, that could probably be like a thing. But I mean, it has a lot of build. It has a lot of build up though, no? Like, cause I'm watching the Cell saga right now, and it has a lot of build up, man. Maybe not as much as Super Saiyan, but the idea of Gohan surpassing everyone and, you know, being the one to fight Cell, like, I think even his episode where he goes Super Saiyan also corresponds with Cell reaching his perfect form. Like, it's very much symbolic and it's there, you know. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we should actually just go ahead and give it the S tier, or do you think we should keep it in A?
It's a hard one, just because I kind of think it loses a little bit of its oomph by Goku or Vegeta having it, and that...
Right.
I mean, because to me it's either high A or low S, so... maybe we can, like, post editing or something like that, can actually put it, like, in between the two, but... I guess
okay, I see what you're saying.
I guess I'll put it in S2. Cause I don't mind putting it up there.
Yeah.
But that's because I would probably say Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is an S tier. Definitely.
Yeah, specifically Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, right? Like, specifically the Cell Saga version of that form, I think is S tier.
Right. So yeah, for Gohan it's S. For anybody else, A. I still think it's a great form, like the sparks flying off the Super Saiyan transformation, the hair kind of being more spiky. I think that's a really nice touch, just design-wise. So there's that too.
Okay, no, I agree with that.
Alright, yeah, so Super Saiyan 3. Personally, I think this form looks super badass, but unfortunately, it doesn't really accomplish much in the series. I mean, it's really, really cool, and it's really, really powerful, but that's about it. Because I want to say that it's a great form. I can't put it in S tier, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly... Okay, just so to see if we're on the same page here before I go into my reasonings for it. I'm thinking it's like high B or like low A. What are you thinking?
I'd probably say low A, because I honestly, as drawn out as the transformation is in Dragon Ball Z, I think that that's like one of those moments that any Z fan remembers, is just that whole sequence. And in Wrath of the Dragon, it was actually treated pretty well too. And then even with Janemba, Goku had a really, really good fight with him. So it's had its chances to be awesome, but really only in the movie form.
Kind of like Kaioken, right? Where Kaioken gets a lot of the movie shine with like the Tree of Might and Lord Slug and World's Strongest.
Yeah, exactly. Because I want to say it's like a high B, low A. So maybe above Kaioken, but not quite as cool as Ozaru.
Yeah, because the form is badass.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the form is badass, but I don't think it holds the same weight as Ozaru, though, as like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, Ozaru never had any like super hype moments, but you knew whenever Ozaru was there that whoever was fighting it was in trouble.
Right, right.
But yeah, so...
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, this one's gonna be interesting, because I don't know, because I don't know your opinion about this. So, Ultimate Form, or if you're a true OG, Mystic. So, because back in the day, people said, oh, it's not a form, but now it's a form. So, I don't hate it. I don't dislike this form, but I think it's a little bit redundant, in my opinion, just because Super Saiyan 2 feels like... Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, anyway. That, to me, feels like the pinnacle of his potential coming out. And so this kind of feels a little bit redundant. I don't hate it. I know some people do. I know some people like it a lot. But what camp do you fall in?
So if you had asked me prior to Super, it would be in the C tier. But I would probably put it low B, like after Kaioken, just because I don't hate the form, but I do like it, and I do like that it's kind of been respected up until now. Because like how everybody tries to like say, we never get to see these forms again, or like, why is Goku always just going into Blue and Super? Like, I feel like Ultimate has stayed Gohan's form up until the very most recent film that came out last year, and Ultimate's been his thing for years, like decades at this point, and I think it's been well respected. I don't think it was ever like disrespected in the TOP, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's looked at as to be like this form that if he trains and if he keeps up with his training, that he can keep up with God characters in it, in this form. So I actually, after Super, I would put it like in the B tier, like after Kaioken and 3.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it, because if we stopped Dragon Ball at Z, then yeah, I'd probably put it C, but I think that the Super anime and manga really elevated up to actually be a decent form.
Yeah, at least respecting it. Whether you want to disagree with the writing around it, that's fine. They respected it though. That is and was Gohan's form up until just the last film,
Right. Yeah, I agree. But so I guess since GT came before Super, we'll go through the two Saiyan forms of GT. So, Golden Great Ape. I like the flashback of it in Z, like whenever Vegeta's kind of monologuing about like, oh, Goku, has he become a Super Saiyan? And you see like that silhouette of it destroying a planet or something. I think that like keeping it in the shadows actually made it look a lot more cool. In GT, I think it's decent, but I don't know. Like to me, like it feels like it should be more hype than what it is, but I don't know, cause I want to say it's like lower B, cause I honestly don't know, but maybe you can say something that might persuade me to rate it a little bit higher.
Well, I think the narrative behind it works, and I think that does save it a little bit. Um, and what I mean by that is just the idea of that whole entire arc and Baby and the Saiyans, the Sephorians. Like I feel like it does work, but you're kind of right, and I agree with you. I feel like I think it worked better in silhouette form. I think maybe even if I were in charge of designing GT back in the day, I probably would have kept the fur like brown, but gave him like maybe some pupils or like a Super Saiyan aura to kind of replicate like the silhouette of like the yellow outline from Vegeta's flashback or something. I think that probably would have worked a little bit better. But I think it's like low B tier. I mean, if you really want, you can also put it above like Ultimate Gohan, but I think it's like low B. I don't think it's like higher than Kaioken or Super Saiyan 3 though.
Nah, I don't think so at all. Super Saiyan 3 is really really cool, but because I think it's like low B tier, so I think that's like an appropriate spot.
Yeah.
But Super Saiyan 4, on the other hand, now
S tier.
yeah, exactly. See,
S
yeah,
tier.
yeah. See, the thing is, even people who hate GT say the like Super Saiyan 4 is so cool. The best thing to come out of GT is Super Saiyan 4, and everybody loves it. I don't know a single person who thinks it's a bad form, and it's used sparingly enough too. Like I like how it's used during the baby fight, Super 17, and then the 4 Shadow Dragons. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just overall a solid form. It's definitely not as iconic as Super Saiyan though, but I like it just being the pinnacle of Saiyan power. Anyways, like without like tapping into some kind of divine energy. Anyways.
No, I completely agree with you on that. Yeah, I think it works as the pinnacle of the Saiyan power in GT. I think it works as the pinnacle of power in general in GT, and I think it really did save GT for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are coming around now to liking GT, probably thanks to, Victor Killafo on Twitter. But
Shout out to him.
but I think before this whole love affair with GT nowadays, back in the day, you ask any Dragon Ball fan, they would tell you, oh yeah, GT gave us Super Saiyan 4. Like, I think it sucks or I don't like it that much, but Super Saiyan 4, man, come on. It's cool, get out of here, So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we need to say any more on that, but Super Saiyan God, I honestly think that this deserves an S tier as well. To me, it represents Dragon Ball coming back.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a underutilized and underappreciated form, so it's kind of one of those things that makes me almost kind of regret that they kind of absorbed it into their base form, because I know that enables them to transform into a blue, at least in the anime. In the manga, it's different, and I know that Goku used it again in the Tournament of Power. So it's a little bit confusing to me exactly how it works after you actually absorb it into your base, but I'll let you expand on whatever you think.
The form itself, though. Yeah, I think the form itself is cool, and it's also a form that hasn't really been like disrespected either. It's a form that kind of either fades out or the characters just transform into a different form. They didn't get their asses kicked in that one, like Blue is an example. But God itself really hasn't been disrespected, and also recently Karthu, he's one of the YouTubers that I edit for. He did a wonderful video on explaining Super Saiyan God and like trying to make sense of the recent Yamoshi interview with Toriyama a few years ago, and kind of explaining that Yamoshi was the first Super Saiyan and how he was killed by such evil Saiyans that his soul did not go into the afterlife, like, that's like what Kami and Korin stated back in Dragon Ball about demons. So his heart and soul wanders for a Saiyan savior, and that Saiyan savior is Goku. Goku being the first Super Saiyan God. There's even like some headcanon there that in the anime, when the form is telling Goku to go even higher and you can get stronger, I think even Goku straight up says, like, the form's talking to me, Lord Beerus. You can probably headcanon that's Yaomoshi's spirit, you know, from like beyond the grave or whatever. And I think adding that in there, I think just really gives the form a lot of merit. I don't know if you want to put it above like SSJ4, but I do think it deserves S tier.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan God are both fantastic. It's hard to put one over the other, so to me, those are even.
I feel you on that. There's also a lot of narrative there, but we can save that for another video, comparing those two forms specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a more in-depth debate on that would actually be pretty cool. But, yeah, so moving on to Super Saiyan Blue. So, I know that it gets a lot of criticism for being a recolor, and I honestly kind of think that's a bad hill to die on. But, because I think it's a really good form. But one of the things, too, I think that the manga actually really elevated it to me. Because normally I would want to put it in B tier, so I don't think it's quite as iconic as just regular Super Saiyan, and I don't like it as much as Super Saiyan 2, 4, or just regular old God, but I honestly think like the whole concept of like not letting your ki leak out, I think that it at least deserves a high A. What do you think about that?
No, I agree. I feel like, you know, the form does get a lot of criticism, even though I've been seeing some people turn around to it, which is cool. I think the manga kind of saves it, and plus, I think the movies also help it too, like ROF and then Broly. I feel like the form is as overused as it is in the anime specifically. I feel like even when he does get serious with that form, it still is very cool to watch him fight in it. Like him being serious against like Murzumastu in the form, or him getting serious against like Jiren. I want to say serious because I know some people will bring up how he goes Super Saiyan Blue against like jobbers for like 2 seconds in the Tournament of Power for no reason. Like I get it, but when he gets serious and actually fights with it, it is still cool to watch him fight in that form. I think it is a cool form, and I think the recolor thing is like a very bad hill to die on. Like you said, this isn't like, you know, like Bleach where characters are like having skull mask and their hair grows like to their backs and like, you know, and they have like shadow disfigurations on their bodies. It's like it's always been just like the hair spikes up, or like Kaioken's just a red aura, or you know what I mean, or like the Super Saiyan 2 is the sparks. I think is what leads up to it, and the narrative behind it, which is what gives Dragon Ball the edge when it comes to transformations. It's never been about the way it looks, you know, at least to me. And I think that's what made Super Saiyan 4 so unique in its own right in GT. So I think the whole idea that the recolors, it's like whatever, man. You know, like I think that's just a bad hill to die on. I think Blue deserves A tier.
Yeah, same here. Well, the whole thing too is that Blue is just literally an ascension over the Super Saiyan God. Because if you look at the Super Saiyan God and how it looks, it's basically Goku in his base form, but with red hair. And so, yeah, you take the Super Saiyan God, you absorb it into yourself, and then you turn Super Saiyan. So, of course, it would make it, whenever you think about it that way, it actually makes a lot of sense about why it has a very similar look to the golden Super Saiyan form.
It would actually make less sense for it to look different. And I bet you there would be people saying that, I don't understand why this happened. Like, well, why did his hair turn black? You know what I mean? Like, it's, or like, why did he grow pants or something? It's like, people would find a reason to complain regardless, you know? Well.
So Super Saiyan Rose, so this is different than Super Saiyan God, or Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. It's slightly different, because it's basically what happens whenever a divine being who is also a Saiyan becomes a Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I have such a soft spot in my heart for this form. Because it might be just because whenever Super came back and we first got a real arc with like a big bad, I honestly feel at that moment was so damn hype, and the form just looks really, really good on Goku Black. So I'm having a hard time deciding where to put this. So I definitely want to put it in A tier too, but do you think it's better or worse than just Super Saiyan Blue? Not really better or worse, so to say, but which one do you prefer?
I think it looks better than Blue. Specifically on Goku Black. Like I don't know how the form would look on somebody else, but man, dude, the outfit he has, the attire with the aura, like the all black and gray with the, whew, that's a good looking form, man, on a character. But
yeah, I do almost want to put it higher than Blue because
okay, yeah,
mostly just because the cool factor, because they are very similar transformations. The only difference is that a god is using Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, because it wouldn't be Super Saiyan Blue in that case.
Right. And plus, as far as I remember, I don't think that form was actually ever defeated, right? Because in the anime, he was stronger than Vegeta, and he just went to fuse with Zamasu anyways, because Zamasu got sucked into the jar. And then I think in the manga, I don't think Vegeta was straight up like beating him up, right? Or no?
It's been so long since I've read the manga, so... Because honestly, the most I remember about the manga in the Goku Black arc or Future Trunks arc was like Vegeta switching between God and Blue and kind of doing what Goku was eventually going to do, because Goku just straight up just mastered the Blue form. Yeah, but Vegeta was basically like, oh, okay, so I can utilize the full power of a Super Saiyan Blue by transforming in a split second, and then go back to God, and then go back to Blue. So, I don't know, kind of going off on a tangent, though.
Which was really cool in his own right. Yeah, I don't think, like, I'm actually looking right now. I know this is, like, live and we're recording, but, yeah, I don't think he actually, like, gets beaten. Yeah, he's not the one, like, Zamasu's the one getting beat up, and then Zamasu's the one who kind of, like, grabs Goku Black and says, like, you told me we would never get defeated, let's go ahead and fuse. So yeah, he's never been beaten in that form. So yeah, I think that deserves an A tier.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it just barely edges out Blue for me. The only reason is because of the design. But onto a form that is very controversial, though. Is this called Super Saiyan Rage? I don't exactly remember what this form is called, but this is Trunks' form that he was just like, damn you, Zamasu. Damn you. I'm going to kill you. I honestly... Because I honestly actively dislike this.
It pains me, bro. It pains me because Trunks is one of the coolest characters in the franchise. And he actually might hold the D spot for both of his forms.
Yeah, it's tragic. I mean, because the thing is, there's no build-up to this. I mean, just the way that it's handled, too, is just, I don't even know. Because, like, if he was taken to the past and, like, Vegeta trained with him in the Room of Spirit in time, I might actually put this higher, but just the way that it was handled was so clumsy.
Yeah, like the episode itself tries to do a good thing of like, oh, it's all your fault. We get the flashbacks, like Goku Black and Zamasu are telling him like, it's all your fault that we're here. Like you caused all of this. Like you're the one who changed everything up by going back in time originally, or whichever the original Trunks that went back in time, the one who was killed by Cell. You know, like it's all your fault. It makes sense, but you're right. Aside from that episode, there's really no build-up. Like what did him and Vegeta do? Have a cookout in the backyard for like 5 seconds, you know? But like they didn't really do anything, you know? Like it's...
and even the form itself doesn't actually accomplish anything. Because, I mean, Trunks didn't need that to do that Spirit Bomb sword or whatever that sword attack was. It was basically like a Genki Dama.
Yeah, like nothing's come out to say otherwise that he needed that form or that form like gradually like because that would be kind of cool if like a guide came out and they called it like the form of hope or something, and it's like Trunks activates this and that's how he grows so strong because he's constantly absorbing life energy because, you know, Genki, it's like exponential growth. That would make some sense. That'd be cool, but like nothing ever came out. We don't even have like an official name for this aside from like the video games, I think. You know, and I think all of those names are different too. depending on which game you play.
Right? So I don't know. Because I don't even think it's all right. I just think it's a bad form. So, but I don't like hate it. Like it doesn't make me angry. It just kind of makes me facepalm. Okay, so on to another S tier one. I bet you anything that you're gonna say it's S tier 2. Ultra Instinct Omen. What do you think?
Yeah, A or S tier. I agree with you. I think it's very high, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I mean that special and super I think was enough to elevate it up that high. Because I mean that was one of the best experiences I've ever had watching Dragon Ball for sure, and it came out right out of the gate.
Yeah, it did.
Came out right out of the gate. Awesome.
Insert song and everything too.
Right, and all the memes like Ultra Instinct Shaggy and all that.
I would okay. Since we're on UIO, let's go ahead and talk about MUI, and then we'll go back to Vegeta in a second. What do you think of MUI?
So before the Moro arc, and before like the fight with Gas, I would have it in A tier. But I think that Moro actually elevates it up to me to S tier. What about you?
I think so as well, and I actually might have a different of opinion of you.
Okay.
I would actually go as far as to say that they're S tier, and that they're higher than God and 4.
Oh.
You want me to explain why?
Yeah, go for it.
So, okay. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to do too much with the build-up for this form, because the form does have build-up. Maybe not as much as, like, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or the original Super Saiyan Transformation. It does have build-up, though, but that's not even really what I want to focus on. We kind of talked about pop culture for Super Saiyan. This form is also kind of close to that level, because within just the past, like, 5 years since this form has come out, I've heard like NBA players say, oh, he went Ultra Instinct, or I've already heard Ultra Instinct referenced in songs. I've seen like other, like Ultra Instinct Shaggy as an example. Like, I feel like this has catapulted to mainstream very quickly. And I think if you combine the form itself with the special, like you said, for Ultra Instinct Omen, and then when you combine the Moro arc and everything, plus pop culture and it being mainstream, I would actually put it above 4 and God.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Now you don't have to, but that's just my opinion. So.
Yeah, personally for me, if it was just the Super anime alone, I'd put this in high A for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I do agree with you. Do you think it's better than Super Saiyan 2? Because honestly, I think it might be. Just because, like I said earlier, like if Super Saiyan 2 was a Gohan exclusive form, I think that it would be right up there with just like Super Saiyan, but I think to me it might actually exceed it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think pop culture wise it definitely does, but if we were just specifically talking Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I wouldn't think so. But I think for this we're talking about strictly every Saiyan that can use it, right? So yeah, I guess sadly it would be behind UI.
Yeah,
so.
but it's basically Goku's form at this point. I mean, we haven't really seen anybody use it. I mean, like there was a time in the manga where it was kind of said that Roshi did, but I don't necessarily know if that was Ultra Instinct.
They said it was like him, like a far cry from the technique or something like that, but you know. But yeah, you're not wrong. It's basically Goku at this point that's utilizing it. So.
Yeah, I think it's almost up there. So yeah, Blue Evolution. I could tell that you were kind of avoiding this too. Ugh.
Yeah.
I honestly think that it might be like one of the worst designed forms ever, just because, especially with like how bright it is.
I think it definitely looks better in the manga.
Yeah, same here, but I don't know, because I'm kind of torn between putting it in D or C tier though. I mean, maybe you can convince me if it even belongs higher.
I'm trying to think. What have I heard from people on Twitter and YouTube? What's some praise about this form? What can I use here? What's some ammunition?
It took out Topo.
Yeah, that's true. But that episode sucked though. Like half of it was a recap of the Boo fight.
Yeah, that kind of bugged.
I mean, I think it's cool in the sense that at the time it was like Vegeta's own way of using things. Like in the manga, it kind of went that route too, right? Where in the Moro arc, he had this form and he used it with like Force Spirit Vision. It's like, I think maybe if you add Force Spirit Vision to it, you could probably put it in C tier, maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what? Fuck it. Why not? Put it above Super Vegeta. If we're doing Force Spirit Vision, then yeah, we'll put it high C tier. Without
Yeah,
Force
if we're
Spirit
using-
Vision in the Moro arc though, it'd be D tier to be honest.
Yeah, if just going by the super anime, yeah. Just cause, oof, how bright it is just oof.
Right. Oh man, but okay, we're moving on to these. I think we can both agree because of the Broly movie that these forms look nice design wise. I would think. So.
Yeah, the first one though, like, isn't that just Broly just kind of getting enraged? Like, is that really even like a transformation, or am I missing something?
I think the games might qualify it as a form. I don't remember if the movie specifically calls it a form. I think Paragus says he's just like he's utilizing the power of like what an Uzaru is, but he doesn't have like the clumsy movements because he's still in his humanoid form.
Okay.
So I mean, I think it looks nice. I can agree with the fandom that, you know, it definitely looks, you know, stylish and it reminds them of Super Saiyan 4. I think design-wise, I would definitely put it in B tier, you know, or at least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So before or after Super Saiyan? 'Cause I don't know if it's as cool as Super Saiyan 3 or Kaioken. Before or after Kaioken?
I'd probably put it after Kaioken.
Yeah, kind of feeling the same.
I mean, Kaioken holds a special place in my heart because of those movies, man. The movies really do carry that. They made that technique look so cool.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, onto Legendary Super Saiyan. Now, this is like super badass. Like in movie 8, like this was like Broly being as huge and buff as he is, like Grade 3 Super Saiyan, I'm pretty sure inspired this form, but Broly wielded it so well. Like honestly, I don't know if it deserves S, but it definitely deserves at least A in my opinion.
Yeah, I would probably put it in A tier, maybe even before Uzaru, but not before Blue and Rose. But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like honestly, Ozaru and Legendary Super Saiyan are both just forces to be reckoned with, and yeah. I mean, Broly even forced Goku and Vegeta to fuse in order to even beat this guy. Like that's how strong that is. Like it basically, like in movie 8, anyways. It's kind of like Super Saiyan 2 before Super Saiyan 2, but it just looks so cool too, like the lime green and just the way that the aura looks too, and then also who's using it. That's a big thing.
Right. Yeah. It's also got some pop culture in there too. It's been referenced like in songs and in you know, like little animations or commercials I've seen. You know, so I think even by that in and of alone puts it above a lot of these other forms because you're not hearing or seeing people mention Blue Evolution. You know,
no.
like...
No, yeah, and Blue Evolution kind of reminds me of the movie Dragon Ball Evolution for some reason, and we don't even want to go in that territory.
So no, I think just off of pop culture alone and mainstream recognition, I think it deserves A tier.
We have 2 more to go though. So we have Ultra Ego and Gohan Beast. So I'll edit this later, but what do you think of Ultra Ego? I mean, personally, without a shadow of a doubt, it's better than Blue Evolution, so it deserves at least a B tier. But I also think that we haven't seen it in action enough too, so that honestly, that could change in the future. But where would you place it personally?
I think it's either B or A tier. The reason why I say that is because I feel like it's kind of what Evolution wanted to be, you know, like the road of like what Vegeta's power would be and where he would go, how he's gonna be different from UI, and I like the idea that it's kind of based a little bit off of like what Beerus taught him on the planet when they were training in the Granola arc. Like, I think that's very cool. So, plus, I think it makes a lot of sense too when you take into account what the manga said recently about how both Goku and Vegeta are his rivals. It was kind of retcon to that, where it's not just Goku, it's both of them. So I think it makes sense. I think there's some build up there for it. I think it deserves, like, I would probably put it in A tier too, to be honest. Maybe low A tier.
Yeah, I can agree with that, because I actually like the form too, but it actually could change in the future. Like, it could actually be higher or lower, just depending on how it's handled in the future. Hopefully it's not ditched in the next arc of Super, though. That's, like, one of my big wishes. I hope that it's actually used really, really well, because against Granola, Vegeta kind of jobbed that fight. But, I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens later in the future, so hopefully Ultra Ego gets some real respect that it deserves, because right now I don't think we've seen enough of it. And it's kind of the same thing with Gohan Beast. Like, I like the form, like basically it kind of took like the meme of Ultimate Gohan, like the whole bang thing, and it just like dialed it up like crazy. I mean, I like the form too. It looks very similar to Ultra Instinct though, minus like the red irises though. I think it's a really cool form. I know a lot of people like don't like it. I know a lot of people do like it. But I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, we saw it for like 4 minutes, but just kidding. Man, I would probably say I could see us putting it in B tier. I don't think the form deserves a C tier just because of how badass it is. But it's still so unknown that I can't put it any higher. And as far as I can tell, I haven't really seen any cultural references or like any sort of pop culture shift with the form. I think again because it's so new. So, you know, I think it's a solid B tier. I would probably put it behind Ultimate or behind Golden Uzaru. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that low B tier is a pretty solid choice. At least like around the same tier as Ultimate Gohan. Maybe just like a tier below, just because, like you said, we only saw it for like 4 minutes, and so maybe in the future again it could be elevated higher, but we'll have to wait and see. Alright, well, I mean, that covers it. I mean, thank you for joining me, MJ. That has been the video for today. Make sure you go subscribe to MJxTV. I heard that he might actually come back and start making Dragon Ball content, so who knows. But anyways, guys, have a good day.